enforcing various codes within the city of Tarpon Springs. Any aggrieved party may appeal a final administrative order of this board to the circuit court. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 days of the execution of the order to be appealed. Florida Statute 286.0105 requires any party appealing a decision of this board to have a record of the proceedings to support such an appeal. The procedure of the board is as follows. First, the city presents its witnesses and exhibits, after which the alleged violator is able to ask the city witnesses any specific questions regarding their testimony. Secondly, the alleged violator is allowed to make a presentation and present his or her witnesses and exhibits. Then the city can question the alleged violator's witnesses. After both rounds of testimony, both on the part of the city and of the alleged violator, each party is asked to give a closing argument, first by the city and then by the alleged violator. After those three steps are taken, this board will close the public hearing portion of the case to discuss it and take appropriate action. Before we begin the public hearings, we'll have all potential witnesses stand and be sworn in by the secretary of the board. So if you wish to speak, please stand.
All righty. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Be seated.
Thank you. Please turn your cell phones to silent so that we don't have any
Good idea.
interruptions. There are a few agenda changes today. Agenda item number 9 will be heard first. Agenda item number 8 will be heard second. And number 2 will be heard third. That's to accommodate those who have come to be here in person. Thank you. So number 9 is number 1. This is number 20-80000015, 28 Ada Street, Annexi Group, LLC. Thank you. If you'll come up, that'd be great. Yes, ma'am. Come right up to the microphone. Try to speak right into the microphone because the hearings are taped. Thank you. Ma'am,
Pardon me?
what's your name?
Mary Annexi.
Mary Annexi, and your relationship to the property?
I'm the owner.
Thank you. Unless you have any objection, the city's going to present its evidence. So do you have a legal objection to them doing so?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Officer Steve Gasson, City of Tarpon Springs Police Department Code Enforcement. As stated, the case is 20-800000015. The property address 28 Ada Street. Property owners listed as Annexi Group LLC. This is a repeat violator case. The prior cases were case 18-800000032 for a violation of City Code 8-52. That case had a fine paid on it. There was another repeat violator case. There's a 17 case, -800000772. That was violation of City Codes 8-40 and 8-52. That one also had the fines been paid. Another repeat violator case, 17-800000618. That also was 8-40 and 8-52. And then a 2015 case, 800000391, 8-40 and 42.00. That was the case that established it. Initially, all of my photographs are exhibit number 1 going before the board. All of my notices, to include notice of violation and notice of hearings, are exhibit number 2. Exhibit number 3 are administrative documents, case summary, property appraiser, and tax collector database records. Affidavit of posting and a copy of the sign is exhibit number 4. And finally, exhibit number 5 is an affidavit of prosecution costs. All of the photographs and exhibits given to the violator, exact copies of what's being presented to this board. All my notices were mailed to the property owner of record as determined by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearing are sent both first class as well as return receipt requested, certified, or not certified, yeah, certified mail. And, Madam Chairman, please accept all these exhibits into the record as evidence.
Thank you. Bobby, will you mark these as being received, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We have had contact with the owner via phone call. The case started on January 14th of this year. I noticed that there were trash cans in public view, there was trash and debris outside, there was siding missing off the building, and there was a car with no tags on the property, a white Cadillac. On that date, the repeat violator notice of hearing was mailed. It was returned not deliverable as addressed to the registered agent for the company. On January 27th, I conducted a reinspection. I noted the vehicle had been removed, so that case is in compliance. There's still no guardrail for the middle set of steps on the south side, but that case isn't before this board.
Guardrails.
The rest of the cleanup had occurred on January 29th when I met with Ms. Annexi on the property. I posted the property on January 31st. So the violations before this board for the repeat violator are going to be, stand by, 8-52, 8-40, and I believe that is it. And she was not in violation, or she was not in compliance from January 14th to January 29th. Total of, my math says that's, what, 15 days?
Thank you. Does the board have any questions of Officer Gasson? Do you have questions for him?
No, the violation of this handrail,
Just questions at this time, then we'll go back to the testimony,
Oh,
okay? Do you have
no.
questions on, okay. All right,
And actually, Mary, I'll make life easy. There's no handrail before this board. We're just dealing with your repeat violator
the
part.
handrail issue is not on the board
I
this
just was
time.
mentioning my case.
what did I put them for? I put them all up.
Mary, you were in violation for that, but the board is not hearing that. That's not part of what's going on today. You're only here for 840 and 852, the repeat violator stuff, the
And-
trash and debris.
And it shows you
That's
in
it.
compliance. Would you like to present your case on those two issues?
No, we've got the car that was there, was one of my tenants. I didn't realize it wasn't registered, but I figured since I own the property and I pay tax, he rents from me. He works at Rusty Belly's, and I didn't realize it didn't have a tag on it, and the officer said it wasn't registered. So I told him, it took me 4 days, I couldn't even find him. And finally, he answered me, and he had it removed. I think his grandfather has it or something like that. But it's gone. So you mean any car that is on my property, if it's not registered, I'm in trouble? Is that it? Well, I learned something. I didn't know that. I thought since I own the property, I pay tax, I could have what I want on there. No?
No, ma'am.
You can't.
Do you have any questions for her?
I don't have any questions for her, Mayor,
Does the
thanks.
board have any questions for her?
Did she state a case? I missed
Said
it.
that was all she had to present.
Okay.
Would you like to summarize, please?
Just want to make sure the board understands we're only here on the 8-40 and the 8-52. Everything else is either in the works or in compliance and not for the board's consideration.
And the fine that was established previously,
It has been up to $100 a day on the most recent case in 2018.
Fines were always paid?
They've all been paid, yes.
anything else?
I have nothing else, thanks.
Do you want to summarize on those two issues?
No, I'm just glad that he doesn't have his car there anymore.
Yes.
And I did the rails because they took the rail down when they put a sectional sofa upstairs.
Not related this time, so don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that for today.
But the car's gone, thank God, he's gone.
Believe we're ready to entertain a motion?
Officer Gasson,
Yes,
can you tell me the dates again?
sure. January 14th through January 29th, total of 15 days.
Thank you.
this isn't about the car. It's the
No?
debris and things like that.
We got that thing made you wanted for the
I'm sorry that
cans.
we're at a different phase of this
Okay.
now. That time for that would have been
All right.
when you were asked for questions. Does the board like to make a motion?
I will.
Thank you.
I move based on the testimony, evidence, and facts presented in law that the respondent was in violation of sections 8-40 and 8-52 of the Tarpon Springs City Code from January the 14th to January the 29th, and a fine of $50 per day for 14 days, or a fine of $700? In addition, I move that the city be awarded $69.50 for the cost incurred in prosecuting the case.
I think the prosecution
$95.
Oh.
$95.
I'm sorry.
Would you like to amend that motion just a touch?
I do, I'm sorry. Yes, I want to amend it to identify that I move that the city be awarded $95 for the cost incurred in prosecuting the case.
Second.
Is there any discussion from the board?
This
Discussion?
Madam Chair, this seems to be repeat violations of the same codes, okay? So this is basically bad behavior that's being repeated, and I'd like to know, is the fine commensurate with the infraction, as this is a repeat violation for the same violation?
Board members? Comment?
I made that $50 because I thought that she'd been responsive to the previous repeat violations, and all of her costs are paid to date.
But it seems like it's an annual activity. I think the last one was cited was 2018, correct, Officer Gass?
That's correct.
Thank you.
If you want to make a suggestion, I can,
I would recommend or suggest a $100 a day fine.
$100 a day.
Currently have a motion on the floor for $50 a day. We'll need to vote on that. If that motion passes, your point is moot. If it does not, we can reconsider a second motion.
Fair enough.
Ready for your, okay. Mr. Perfidio?
No.
Mrs. Telliar?
No.
Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
No.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. Wade?
Yes.
Okay, would you like me to summarize then?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so yeah, the vote passes, so the motion carries. So Ms. Annexie, the company, your company, Annexie Group LLC, has been fined $50 a day for 14 days for violation of Code Sections 8-40 and 8-52. The Code Enforcement Board has also awarded the city $95 in prosecuting the case. As a total of, if my math is correct, $795 for these violations. There will be an order entered. It'll be entered within the next 10 days and sent to you by certified mail at the address listed with the property appraiser's office. If you have any questions.
Don't send it to that address because I don't receive mail there. I have a P.O. box.
So what is the P.O. box that
My business P.O. box is 672 Tarpon Springs, 34688, because those are the tenants, and I won't get any mail if it goes there.
okay, so they're going to send it to both addresses. They're required to send it to the address
Oh
listed.
my God, I forgot to turn my phone off. I'm sorry. God, I thought I put it on vibrate.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry.
So it will be sent to both addresses then? We'll send it to your post office box and to the address listed by the property appraiser. They're required to do that because that's what state law
I
requires.
understand it.
Okay, so you've made a note of that? Staff has made a note of that? It'll be sent there as well. If you have any other questions, you can
No, sir.
contact code enforcement after the meeting today, though.
Do I then, once I get the fine, I just mail it to wherever it says?
It'll explain it, yes.
Okay.
You can bring it into the city clerk's office, the collector, and you could pay it there as well. Okay?
The city clerk is where? Oh,
We pay your water bills?
bills are- Right.
Okay,
I
thank
forgot.
you. We're going to move on to the next case.
You
I'm
have
sorry I
listed-
put it on my-
Board, you have it listed as case number 8, but it's currently case number 2. Repeat violator 19-80-717-106 East Lime Street, Paul and Tina
Bacalopoulos.
Bacalopoulos.
How much was it?
I think. How did I do?
It's like, I'll send you something. You call me tomorrow? Do it tomorrow, okay?
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you for coming. Your name, please,
Paul Bacalopoulos,
and your relationship to this property?
property owner.
Thank you. Do you have any legal objection to the city providing us with the evidence for this case?
Not at this moment, no.
Thank you.
Thank you. As stated, this is a repeat violator case. The case was initially established for the property at 106 East Lime Street under case 17-800000002. And that was for violations of City Code 8-22, 8-40, and 8-52. And then it was also a repeat violator under a 2017 case 800000704, which was also 8-22, 8-40, and 8-52. All of those fines were previously paid. The case before the board today is 19-800000717. As you stated, Paul and Tina Bacalopoulos. Did I get it?
Yeah.
Close? Okay. Exhibit number 1 going before the board are all of my photographs. Exhibit number 2 are all the notices to include notice of violations and notice of hearing. Exhibit number 3 is the administrative docs, case summary, previous board orders, property appraiser, and tax collector records. Exhibit 4 is the affidavit of posting and a copy of the sign. Exhibit number 5 is the affidavit of prosecution costs. All the photographs presented to this board are exact copies of what were given to the violator. All my notices were mailed to the property owner of record based on the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All my notice of violations and notice of hearing are sent both first class as well as return receipt. And Madam Chairman, please accept all the exhibits into the record as evidence.
Bobby, will you accept those, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Our case, or this case, we have had contact, Bess had contact with the owner via phone call in the office. Case started out October 2nd of 2019. My initial inspection was the property was overgrown. There was an abandoned RV on the property, and it was possibly a repeat violator case. On October 3rd, the repeat violator notice of hearing was mailed. The green card was returned signed. On November 1st of 2019, posted the property and signed the affidavit. Conducted a reinspection on November 6th of 2019, and it was in compliance, so the compliance date is November 6th of 2019. We deferred the case from last year, which was originally scheduled for November, until obviously we're here. So the property was reposted on January 31st of 2020. The property was in violation based on being overgrown. The RV falls under 852, which is unused equipment or vehicles, from initially of October 2nd, 2019 until November 6th of 2019. And the two codes before the board for consideration as a repeat violator is 8-40, duty to maintain private property and preventing public nuisance, and 8-52, which is the nuisance prohibitions, which deals with the overgrown lot as well as debris, and in the definition of debris, unused equipment, unused vehicles fall under that. So it covers both the overgrowth as well as the RV that's on the property, was on the property. And at this point, the city has nothing further.
Does the board have any questions of city staff? Do you have a question for the officer?
No.
Thank you. Would you like to present your case, sir, now?
Well, this property, and he'll tell you, is a very unique site. I mean, it used to be a house on the property, and I was working with the city, the police department, everything, and trying to keep people from living in the house, from dumping stuff on the property. Numerous times, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars cleaning the site. People dumping garbage, construction debris, just a constant nuisance. So basically, to resolve the situation, I demoed the house. I spent over $10,000 to get rid of the house, so it would eliminate that nuisance. So I understand what's going on, but I'm kind of like a victim in this situation because I've tried everything I could to try to prevent these things from happening, and I've contacted the police department. I signed documents allowing them to go on site, to arrest anybody on site. And this situation was even more unique because we were demoing the house, And while the police were there, because they had to vacate, make sure nobody was in the house before we knocked it down, basically, so no one got hurt, a gentleman down the street pushed this RV onto my property. And the city policeman said that, you know, if you can get rid of it, call Bradford's and they'll come pick it up. So I called Bradford's, they wouldn't take it. I tried for over a month. We ended up having to physically bring a dumpster here on site and disassemble the RV piece by piece into a dumpster and then get it hauled off. So I not only paid for the labor to disassemble it, because nobody would take it. No towing company would take it because it was, I don't know, a 1962 RV, it had no value. So I did disassemble it. I did recycle the chassis right here in Tarpon to get some of the money back. And then right now it's basically a vacant lot. So that's kind of where I stand. I'm really at a kind of at a loss. Really, I'm trying to deal with this for so many years of people just abusing my property.
Staff, do you have any questions for him?
You have any questions for him?
I do not have any questions, thank you.
Would you like to summarize your case, please?
I think I already have, thank you.
And could you tell us what fine was previously assessed?
$10 a day.
Would you like to summarize, or do you feel like you pretty well covered it?
No, I mean, I enjoy the city. I mean, I've been a taxpayer for many, many years. I mean, I was hoping the street would improve. I mean, that's, you know, so it's just one of those things, you know, hopefully with the way things are going, the city is definitely improving. Hopefully I can develop the site and do what I do, so, yep.
Thank you. The public portion of the case is now closed. Board, I'm ready to entertain a motion if you have one.
I move that based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in the law that Paul and Tina Bacalapala were in violation of sections 17, 8, 602.
That's not a code section.
Say again?
That's not a code section.
Look down a
Oh,
little
I'm sorry.
further.
Yeah,
8-40
sorry.
and 8-52.
That's the case number. 822 and 840 and 852.
Not 822 this time, just the two numbers, 8-40 and 8-52.
That's not what this says on here.
Look down, you're looking at the wrong part.
Okay.
It's just 840 and 852.
Oh, okay, okay. Delay that, please. Okay, and, yeah, of the Tarpon City's code from 2 October 2019 to 6 November 2019, which is, quick math here. 29, 35 days. And a fine of $20 per day. For a total of $700.
It's more than what was on the thing.
This is a repeat violation code. Okay, in addition, I move that the city be awarded the cost of $69.50 prosecution cost incurred in prosecuting the case.
Do I have a second? Bobby, call for roll, please.
Mr. Porfirio?
Yes.
First, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
This man has done everything he can. Quite frankly, that street sucks. And I don't mean that literally, I mean that it's filthy all the time. And there's nothing we can do about it because there's a convenience store right on the end of that street. And this proportion of the city is supposed to be commercial and not residential. And yet there are residential houses on that street, and they have no respect for littering or loitering or putting stuff on people's yards so that they don't get fined. It's a 1-block radius. It is the worst of them all. And I would recommend another $10 a day instead of 20, just because the man has spent thousands upon thousands of dollars, and he's done everything he can in order to secure the place.
Do you want to amend your motion or leave it as it stands?
I'll leave my motion as it stands.
For question, roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Porfirio?
Yes.
Mrs. Telliar?
No.
Ms. Norfleet?
No.
Mr. Robinson? No. Mr. Kramer?
No.
Mr. Weeks?
No.
Mrs. Wade?
No. I'd like to ask the board if you'd like to make another motion?
What was that? 11/6. And that's 35 days?
35 days?
35 days.
Correct.
I move that based on the testimony, evidence, and the facts presented by law, that the respondent was in violation of 8-40 and 8-52 of the Tarpon Springs City Code from October the 2nd, 2019 until November the 6th, 2019, and a fine of $10 a day for 35 days, $350. For a fine of $350. In addition, I move that the city be awarded $69.50 for the cost it incurred prosecuting the case.
Second.
Discussion? Bobby?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Porfirio?
Yes.
Mrs. Telliar?
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Kramer? Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. Wade?
Yes.
Your motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next item on your agenda is listed as item 2. It's now item 3. 19-800-709, 805 Cave Mill Way, Vincent De Forgione II. Good afternoon. Could we get your name and
Good
address?
afternoon, board members.
Your name, sir?
Could you give me your name, please?
Oh, yes, Vincent Forgione,
Thank you.
805 Cave Mill Way.
And your relationship to the property?
I'm the property owner.
Property owner, thank you. Do you have any legal evidence why the city cannot submit their evidence?
Objection.
Any
Legal
objection?
Oh, no, I have no objection.
Thank you.
Thank you. Officer Steve Gasson, City of Tarpon Springs Police Department Code Enforcement. Case before the board 19-800000709. Property address is 805 Cave Mill Way. Vincent Forgione II is the listed property owner. Exhibit number 1 going before the board are my photographs. Exhibit number 2 are all my notice of violation and notice of hearing. Exhibit number 3 is the administrative documents, case summary, property appraiser, and tax collector records. And exhibit number 4 is the affidavit of posting and a copy of the sign. All the photographs and exhibits that were given to the violator are exact copies of what's being presented to this board. All of my notice of violations and all of my notices were mailed to the property owner record based on the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearing are sent both return receipt as well as first-class mail. And Madam Chairman, please accept these into the record as evidence.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yes, ma'am.
This case originally started out September 30th of 2019. Where we received an anonymous call about overgrown yard, some vehicles with expired tags, and a trailer that was less than 2 feet from the side lot line. We have had contact with the owner via phone calls. When I conducted the inspection, I found the front rear yard was overgrown, grass was growing into the roadway. The trailer had expired tags in 2008 and less than 2 feet from the side lot line, in violation of the city code, and debris in the front yard. On October 2nd, we mailed the notice of violation. It was returned unclaimed. I conducted a reinspection on January 17th of 2020. The trailer was still on the property after the property owner had called our office and requested an extension. All the other violations were in compliance at that time. On January 17th, the notice of hearing was mailed. The green card was returned without a signature. On January 31st, I posted the property and signed the affidavit. On February 12th, I conducted final inspection, and as I stated, everything else was in compliance except for the trailer being on the property. The trailer is parked on the south side of the property, and it's well within 2 feet of the side lot line. At the time, it had grass undergrowing it, and basically just simply wasn't allowed to be there. So the only violation before the board today is a violation of City Code 42.00. It's defined as park, store, recreational vehicles, but one of the definitions inside of it are utility trailers that fall under that, so hence that code applies to a utility trailer under recreational vehicles per the code. So that's all the city has at this point.
Thank you. Do you have questions for Officer Gasson?
No, no, I do not.
Would you like to present your case, please?
I am not contesting anything that the officer has stated. He's been more than fair and giving me extra time to try to be in compliance. My health has been extremely bad this past year. This is the worst year I've ever had, and that's why I was not in compliance. I've managed to get everything else up to code, but the trailer is a very daunting task because the wheels have sunk down into the ground, and the trailer's full of various things that I have to store from my ex-wife, and we are now divorced. And so, you know, it's just more than I can handle by myself. All my children have moved out of state and don't live here anymore. I don't really have many friends, but the few friends that I've had have got problems of their own. I've tried to enlist them to help me, and one has come forward since Officer Steve has been working with me on this. I don't know if you know of Russ Britton, who owns the place, the sporting goods store up on the hill on Alternate 19. He said that he can come help me. He's got a few things that he has to square away of his own before he can do that. And as I say, I'm not contesting this, you know, what you want me to do. It's just, you know, physically, I have to empty the trailer first before it can be moved. Otherwise, it will cause damage to the trailer trying to get it out of the hole that it's in. And so I'm only asking the board for a little extra time to be able to facilitate this and bring it into compliance.
Do you have any questions for this owner?
How much time would you need, sir? How much time do you think you would need to bring the...
6 weeks would be ideal, but I'll take whatever the board can give me. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for him?
I have no questions, thank you.
Would you like to summarize?
I don't need to, thank you.
Anything else you'd like to add in summary?
I would like to thank the board in advance for the grace, mercy, and kindness that you have shown me so far. And I come to before you with deep regret for my property not being in compliance in the first place. Thank you.
I did have one question. Where did the complaint arise from? A citizen complaint, a neighbor?
Yes.
A neighbor?
All I know is that it was a citizen complaint. I don't know from whom.
I understand.
So,
If there's nothing further, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
On testimony and evidence and facts presented by law, that at the time the alleged violation, section 42.00 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Tarpon Springs was in force and effect, and the respondent was in violation thereof.
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Mr. Porfidio?
Yes.
Mrs. Telliar? Yes. Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. Wade?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Then we need a second motion from the board.
I move that the respondent shall have 45 days to bring the property into compliance of Code Section 42.00 or suffer a fine of $25 a day for each day thereafter that the respondent remain in violation of said code.
We really need a date certain, so,
Date.
yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm
if you could pick a
sorry.
date, because there's often the question, do you include today, not include today? Do you include the last day? Do you not include the last day when we're counting numbers 45? So
6 weeks
is March 26th.
March 26th in that section, sir.
So a motion has been made that a violation is established after March 26th of $25 a day. We need to vote on that, please, Bobby?
My second, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I don't think there was one, I'm sorry. Second.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
Telliar? Yes. Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Mrs. Wade?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Can I summarize?
Summarize, please.
Sir, the board has found you in violation of section 42.00, giving you until March 26th to get the property into compliance. If it's not in compliance by that date, a $25 a day fine will begin to run until it is brought into compliance. The board's going to enter an order. It'll be entered in the next 10 days. It'll be mailed to you at the address listed by the property appraiser. If you have any questions after the meeting today, you can call the Code Enforcement Department. They'll be happy to answer them for you. Okay?
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of this board.
Thanks for
You have
coming.
reaffirmed my decision many years ago to live and work in Tarpon Springs. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Oh,
Nobody here for the last one.
Do we go back and do that?
yes, sir,
and
let's
not-
see. I want to read this correct.
Yeah, so we just need to jump up to number
March
5.
26th, yes, sir. I'll send you an order also reflecting that information. Do you need a pen to write that down?
Board, if you'd look at item number 5, please. 19-800000882, 730 Driftwood, KG Sutherland.
Make sure when you-
If anyone's here for that? Would you like to present your
Thanks,
case, please?
Officer Steve Gasson, City of Tarpon Springs Police Department, Code Enforcement case before the board 19-800000882. The property address is 730 Driftwood Lane, just to let you know, it's a parcel inside River Village Mobile Home Park off of Live Oak. The mobile home park's kind of interesting in the sense that each space is an independent parcel with an independent address, so it's not owned by the complex. The property owner is listed as KG Sutherland. Exhibit number 1 before the board are all my photographs. Exhibit 2, my notices, including notice of violation and notice of hearing. Exhibit 3 is the administrative documents, case summary, property appraiser, and tax collector records. Exhibit number 4 is the affidavit of posting and a copy of the sign. All my notices were mailed to the property owner record based upon the Pinellas County property appraiser and tax collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearing are sent return receipt requested, as well as first-class mail. And Madam Chairman, please accept all the exhibits into the record as evidence.
Bobby, will you accept these into the record, please? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We've had no contact with the owner, but a little backstory on this. This used to have a mobile home on it that this board, we abated the mobile home.
Okay.
We've had zero success, and I believe Mr. Trask's office has even tried to find an owner. We don't even know if she's alive or dead. There doesn't seem to be any estates or trusts out there. So unfortunately now the mobile home is gone, the property's grossly overgrown. That was our initial complaint from a citizen was on January 8th, the lot was overgrown. I inspected it and found that to be in fact true. We issued the notice of violation because it was part of the, 8-40 was part of the original case, 852 was not, so this is a new case before the board for that ordinance. Mailed the notice of violation on the 1st of, or the 9th of January this year. I conducted a reinspection on the 28th. There was no change to the property. On the 28th of 2020, the notice of hearing was mailed with no mail returned. And on January 31st, I posted it. And then as of earlier this morning, there was no change. So before the board is a violation of City Code 8-52, the nuisance prohibitions, and 8-40. And that's all the city has at this point.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Property is abandoned, as this appears to be the case, what happens?
Well, you'll probably be hearing from me in a little bit when we go to abate it. Actually, you might not hear from me. I'll just have the city manager, and we'll be mowing it. So at that point, and then we're going to explore what happens with that, but we kind of became their lawn maintenance company, I think.
There's nothing listed in nothing listed in tax records? I'm assuming
We
that-
chased this one down. I mean, the property owner, I believe, lives in this Fort Myers area or somewhere around in there. I mean, we went through news stories, we Googled it
Right.
ad nauseum, and we've had zero luck finding an actual person. And the neighbors haven't seen it, but there was a car on the property originally also that we had towed off, and I want to say the tags had expired like 12 years before the car was a science project. So, and we've had zero luck finding anybody attached to the property, no family, anything. So, except for Beth finds everything. So.
So even if we want to establish it, possibly, if we attach a fine, there's no.
Yeah, well, the previous fines haven't been paid, so.
Okay. So, unless anybody has anything to
Madam Chairman?
ask him, I think.
Okay, well, actually, it's a point of order, so I'll wait. It's not for the officer.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion, please?
I'll move based on the testimony and evidence and facts presented and a law that at the time of the alleged violation, section 840 and 852 of the code of the city of Tarpon were enforced, in fact, respondents were in violation thereof.
I second.
Discussion? Is this where?
I had a question about, as I understand it, 840 was already existing. Do they have to be treated separately, or because it's both now?
They're bringing it forward to you as an initial case and not as a repeat.
Okay.
Yeah, so treat it like
It's
it's an
all
initial
one.
case.
One
Okay, okay.
issue, yes. Was there a
Madam
second?
Chair,
I
Yes,
seconded.
okay. Bobby?
Mr. Perfetti?
Question down here.
I'm sorry.
just a question. There's previous violations attached that I heard you mention earlier, fines.
We did them under a different ordinance number,
Oh.
so that's why the 840, and
Got it.
that was when I was new, and I haven't cleaned up my act completely yet, so. But it's different code violations than the original. The original one was done under the car.
Right.
So,
At this point, we have a motion on the floor to establish the violations. Bobby, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Perfidio?
Yes.
Mrs. Teliar?
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Wade?
Yes. Now, if the board would like to make a second motion,
I move that the respondent shall have until February the 28th to bring the property into compliance with code sections 8-40 and 8-52, or suffer a fine of $25 a day for each day thereafter that the respondent remain in violation thereof.
and that was 2020, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Bobby?
Mr. Perfidio?
Yes.
Mrs. Teliar?
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Wade?
Yes.
Carries.
Let's go to item 10.
Look at this.
Wow.
I guess we established.
Affidavits of compliance.
Need a motion to accept the affidavit of compliance.
I move we accept the affidavit of compliance in case 18-800000235.
I second.
Thank you. Bobby? Or is it voice vote?
You can do a
Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Old business. We've been given documents with a request for reconsideration of the fines. This would be for items 19-800-00812 and 813, if I can group them together
We need to treat them separately.
separately.
We need
Alrighty.
Two motions.
This is for parcel 11, 27, 15, 87786, 017, 0120. It's a vacant lot on Eunice. The owners are Theodosis and Angie Panesis. And the procedure for that is just to ask if they want it or not. This is where I had some questions.
So I'd remind you that your Rule 5, Section 4 of your Rules of Procedures provide, well, I'll just read it because we have a new member of the board, so everybody's on the same page. After a fine, and I'm going to read the rule in its entirety, after a fine has been imposed by the board and within 60 days after the violation is brought into compliance, a violator may petition for reconsideration of a fine. The petition must be in writing, signed by the violator, and include a copy of the affidavit of compliance executed by the code inspector. The petition must include conclusive evidence showing extreme or undue hardship in the payment of the fine or preventing the violator from coming into compliance within the time period established by the board's order. The board secretary shall schedule the petition to be considered, and the board shall make its determination based solely upon the written petition. The board may request information from the code inspector. The board secretary shall notify the violator by regular mail of the determination made by the board. No petition for the reduction of a fine will be considered prior to the board's acceptance of an affidavit of compliance. Under no circumstances may the amount of the fine be reduced below the costs of the action. Under no circumstances may the amount of the fine be reduced once a foreclosure action is instituted. And additionally, under no circumstances may the amount of the fine for repeat violation be reduced. That was a reading of your rule in its entirety. You've got in front of you a written petition, and I believe you also have a response by the city. So you're to make your determination based solely upon that.
Last page.
As I understand it, this is a repeat violator,
Yes, it is.
and according to our rules,
Your rule specifically provides that under no circumstance may the fine be, I'm sorry, let me get it, just in the last sentence. Additionally, under no circumstances may the amount of the fine for a repeat violation be reduced.
And there you have.
Oh, that's simple.
would you like to make a motion, please?
I move that the request for reconsideration on 19-800000812 be denied.
Yeah,
You're a
it's
second?
part of, yeah, he seconded, and I'd like to
Now we
discuss.
have discussion.
Yes. The city recommended, for reasons of, I assume, the close location of the adjoining location of the properties, that, as I think of it, it would be.
I'm on it.
It's turned off, you guys.
150 lot, yes.
No, yes.
Okay, I found this on the web for recommended.
Excuse me, we will sit on it.
That was very good.
It's the only way I
great.
can shush things. Anyway, I'm going to vote against it because I want to go with the city's recommendation of cutting each one in half. That's just the way I'm thinking of it.
I think that the city was overruled by its own rules, and also to request a reduction of fines that says that you need to have proof that it's a financial hardship, and a sick dog, to me, was not proof of financial hardship. And so I'm tending to support not reconsidering. They did not follow the procedures, and I do understand it's one lot, and if it wasn't a repeat violator, I would 100% be for that. but since it was a repeat violator, I didn't think, I felt like that was not an appropriate response, but you get to vote how you want. Anybody else?
I would just like to make a comment that in her own writing, she said it's only been in non-compliance, or I've only had violations a few times over the years, and that to me seemed like an issue in and of itself.
Thank you.
But also, as a point of, per the manual, I think you're supposed to submit tax statements of 2 years. So just from procedural, I don't think it was.
Your rule does not require any specific, it just says conclusive evidence showing extreme or undue hardship. They could do that in any way, a financial affidavit, a tax return, a statement, and so I just want to make that clear that.
I thought I read in the manual.
It's
that it needed-
recommended, but
okay.
not
Recommended.
required.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And what that is it's a statement that is given to people that are requesting. Is that in the fine reduction statement when you send it out in the mail? Is that what you're reading from?
I can get that for you also, but it was just in our instructions to the code board.
Yeah.
There is the form for
That's-
request of fine reduction.
Yeah, that's not part of your rules of procedure.
It's in this packet. Instructions for requesting fine reduction. Are you quicker at turning through this than I am?
I see.
It's numbered, but it's not tabbed to match the numbers.
So this is a letter that goes to people that are requesting fine reduction, saying, this is the process that needed to go through. And then it gives examples, I guess, in it as to what you should include. But this is not your rule. This is just information that is given to people that are asking for a fine reduction. Your rule is exactly how I read it.
Okay, where it's no repeat violator can get a fine reduction. Repeat that one more time, I'm so
The
sorry.
last sentence of Rule 5, Section 4, additionally, under no circumstances may the amount of the fine for a repeat violation be reduced.
Thank you. Anybody else? Roll call, please. And I want to rephrase the,
Didn't I read
sure
somewhere where
we
the
got
city
it.
supports a slight reduction?
Yeah, the city's response on the back of each one of these petitions.
the motion has been made to decline the request for fine reduction. It's been made and seconded, correct?
Yes.
All right, call for question, roll call?
Mr. Porfidio?
Yes.
Mrs. Telliar? Yes. Ms. Norfleet?
No.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
No.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. Wade?
No.
No?
Motion passed. 4 to
4
3?
to 3.
That we did not accept.
Yes, did not.
Correct.
Did not accept.
The motion was to deny the petition for reconsideration of fine, and it passed. So we can move on to the next item then, item number 12.
Adjacent and contiguous property to the previous one. The testimony would all be similar unless anybody has any other questions. Would anybody like to propose a motion?
I move that the request for consideration of 19-800000813 be denied.
Second for that?
Second.
Further discussion? Bobby?
Mr. Porfidio?
Yes.
Mrs. Telliar? Yes. Ms. Norfleet?
No.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
5 to 2. That one passed as well.
I think we're to the end of the,
We just need to do these last couple of things.
We have approval of minutes. Do we have a minutes to approve?
No, we do not have any minutes to be approved at this time.
If anybody in the audience has any comments, would you like to speak?
I do. I'm in the audience.
Board?
Just one really quick, once I get approval from the clerk's office and the city, we're considering the possibility of moving the board meetings to the upstairs little boardroom that if you haven't seen it, it's right to the left of that window. It's actually really nice. There's 2 big monitors in there, so you guys don't have to spin your chairs around to look at the monitors. But like I said, I gotta get the approval with the clerk, and we're gonna kind of let them have some other meetings first to work out any issues. But you guys can certainly go up there if you want, and especially since it's not 7 o'clock at night for a change, and see what the room looks like and get your opinions about it. It's a little more quaint. But especially now with me putting pictures up and things like that, it's a little difficult for some of you guys to see the media, and this would give you the ability to see it. It's a little more sectioned off, and obviously it's not an auditorium, so it's a little more close, but that's all I have.
I want to thank the board for listening to everybody's case. And for you folks, I think it looks like you've been helping people work things out since we don't have such a thick agenda. Thank you very much for doing that.
Certainly.
Anybody else? Seeing there's no other business on the agenda, I adjourn the meeting.